This episode of WDW Today is being sponsored by All-Star Vacation Homes. And, you know, when you're picking where you're going to stay on your next Walt Disney World trip, why not have a place that's going to have your own private pool, full kitchen. It's not private, but it is yours. Lots of other great amenities like a game room, theater. I mean, these are just some of the many, many, many different things that you can get at an All-Star Vacation Home. And you can pick the one that's going to be right for you and your family. So check them out, what they have online at www.allstarvacationhomes.com.
This is Walt Disney World Today. Give us 5 minutes and we'll give you the world.
It's Friday, January 15th, 2010, and this is episode 669 of WDW Today. I'm Matt Hochberg of StudioCentral.com. Joining me on today's show is Len Testa, co-author of The Unofficial Guide to Walt Disney World. Welcome to the show, Len.
How's it going, Matt?
Outstanding. And Len, you mentioned last week, I believe, about your little way that you scored an amazing score on Sum of All Thrills. So are you ready to divulge your secrets?
I am. I will spill at the end of the show.
Okay, so you got to listen to this. It's called the tease.
It is. It's a tease.
That's in the radio world.
That's me. I've got to get my jolly some way. The Steelers are out of the playoffs. Go ahead.
Also joining us on today's show is Mike Scopa, a senior feature writer and blogger for allears.net. Welcome, Mike.
Intruders! Guards! Seize them!
That'd
and
be
their little
Zurg.
green friends, too.
Zurg, right?
Buzz Lightyear, Space
Buzz
Ranger
Lightyear.
Spin. That's
Very
where
nice.
that's from.
Also joining us on today's show is Mike Newell of Mouse World Radio. Mike, I know that I've been listening very closely to Mouse World Radio ever since the new year began because I can't wait to win my first Mouse World Radio t-shirt just by listening.
Actually, you already missed out on the first one.
What?
That one went to Amy of Kentucky, the first one. Sorry, Matt.
She doesn't even like you, really. She's just playing up to you. You know that, right?
I know. She killed me the night of the Deck 10 show. I'm not even going to mention what it was about.
All I'll say is no one loves you like I do.
Yeah,
Mike.
you started the whole thing. Thank you.
Not that there's anything wrong with that.
Exactly. Well, on today's show, it's the show we've all been waiting for, the All Mike Newell Show.
Stop it.
Where we're actually for back in reunion last month now. It's been over a month now. Mike actually did something unique, and it wasn't even at Walt Disney World.
Showered.
Yes, that too.
Mike, you took the auto train down from Virginia over to Orlando. I want to talk about that because I know some of our listeners have done it, but others are, a little apprehensive about it exactly and aren't sure about it. So we thought maybe we might share your thoughts on your experience in the auto train. And why don't you explain to our listeners first what the auto train is exactly?
Well, the auto train is just what it says it is. It's a train that you take a ride from with your car. Your car rides in the back of the train, just like I guess you would. From the north, I took it from Lorton, Virginia, which is about 20 minutes outside of D.C., to Stanford, Florida, which is about 20 to 30 minutes north of Walt Disney World. So it's relatively close it's close to Walt Disney World. It's a little bit out of the way, depending on where you live up in the north, but to me...
But you have a car.
Right.
What?
But you have a car. So who cares how far it is?
Well, you have to drive to the train.
That's what I'm saying. And then once you get off the train, even if Stanford's 30 minutes farther,
No.
you got a car.
But in order to get to Sanford, you have to go to Lorton, Virginia. So you have to drive to Lorton. So if you live,
okay, there's that true.
if you live in Virginia or in the DC suburbs, it's perfect. But if you're further away, you have to drive to Lorton. So for me, it took 4.5 hours just to get to Lorton.
Right, and you live in New York, Mike.
I'm in New York, yeah. So on Friday, I guess it was a Friday morning, I left Manhattan. I happened to be at work, and I drove from Manhattan to Lorton, Virginia. It took about 4.5 hours.
I'll take Manhattan.
Let me ask you this, Mike. How long does it take in the train from Virginia to Sanford?
Well, from when it starts to when it stops, it's 17.5 hours. So it is long.
Wow.
Yeah,
right.
it is long. I mean, in the time that I waited in the terminal just to board the train, I could have been to Florida because, they recommend you get there early to board so that you can load the car.
Yeah.
So I was there at, 12. The train didn't pull away till 4:30. So I could have already had been there. So there was
You
that.
could drive. You're saying you could drive there faster, Mike?
No, I could have flown faster.
Oh, you could
Well, yeah,
have-
but
Right.
but a flight is $200-300, and then you still have to rent a car when you get there, or use Disney's Magical Express. How much was the train?
Well, that's what's interesting. The train itself, for a coach seat was $93 each way. So you had that on top of about a $300. I went at a high time because it was the holidays, so it was about $300 for the car. So totally with the car and a coach seat each way, it came out to about $4 something.
Which would have been $93 a person. Plus the cost of the car.
Plus the cost of the car, right.
Got
now, I upgraded to a private room. They call it a sleeper roomette, which is a little tiny.
Roomette. I've never heard the word roomette.
You've never ridden Amtrak, I guess. Roomette. It's about as wide as a first class passenger airline seat with a wall. So you're enclosed. You face another seat, so you have 2 seats. So it sits 2 people. I don't know if it'd be comfortable. It was comfortable enough for me just being by myself. 2 people might get a little crowded, but there are larger rooms, and that was an additional $124 each way. So the total trip for me with the car was $660.
It's not terrible for 2 people. $330, and you've got the car.
Well, that's it. It wasn't terrible. I was down in Disney for 10 days between the Reunion Land and the cruise. So I had
yeah. So yeah, I mean, it was cheaper than flying.
It probably evened out a little bit. But like you said, I didn't have to rent the car.
You stayed there for 10 days, though, Mike. If it was like 5 days or 6 days, it's a different story because
that's like
a car cheaper. Yeah,
it's either a 2-week rental or a week and then a 3-day non-weekend rate.
Yeah, definitely the balance or the even is at least 8 to 10 days.
And don't forget also that Mike gets to put he can pack whatever he needs.
Well, that was it.
He doesn't have to worry about luggage costs.
Right. There was no baggage cost. You just load up the car. They just take the car and put it around the train. They never. Yeah. But I mean, a friend of mine was flying today. Just a matter of fact, it took him 2 hours and 50 minutes to go from curbside to the gate. So if security, is a concern.
Well, that's one of the reasons why I drove on my last trip, because I figured with the drive plus the early check-in time, it'd be like 6.5 hours. 7 hours to till I'm in the parks, and driving's 11 or 12. Do you really want to spend the extra money for 5 extra hours?
Right. And that's 5 extra hours in line. You're not. It's not like you're hanging out.
Yeah, exactly.
Really,
it's just not fun.
Yeah. So I've always wanted to do this since I was a kid. So this was always this was going to be a treat for me either way. So I enjoyed it. I thought it was great. Included in the price, you get a dinner and a breakfast.
Ooh. How was the food?
I'm going to say something that I thought I'd never say. 2 words in the same sentence I thought I never would mention. Amtrak makes a really good steak. It wasn't.
Yeah, I never would have.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I never would have either. It's odd because I almost said I flew down. I went by myself. I went solo. So what they do for dinner, especially with a solo, is they seat you at a table with 3 other people. Because of the, there's not that many, solo tables on the train. And I gotta say, the service on the train was totally first class. From the moment you checked in to the moment that they gave you the car, everything was first class. The food was first class. The settings were first class. It was really, I've never been treated so well traveling.
Interesting.
So that was kind of refreshing. That was kind of nice. I really enjoyed that.
Let me ask you this, Mike. You and even your wife traveling down is one thing. What would be your reaction to, like, I know your brother has a young child. How old is your nephew?
He's going to be 3.
3. Would you recommend for your brother to bring his family on that kind of a trip?
I don't know if I'd bring a 3-year-old. In the compartment next door to me was a young family with 2 girls. They must have been, I would say, around 10 at the very lowest, and they seemed to have a great time. Apparently, they've done it before, so they knew the car attendant. They knew some of the people that were there already, so they were having a grand old time. Because what they do is, you bring your DVD player, you bring some games on board. Me, I had my laptop with movies. I was ready to go. So, and coming home was even better because I was able to edit some of the shows that we did for Reunion on the way back. So I had plenty of time. So if you read,
so there's electricity provided.
There is electricity. The roomette has electric. It's got music system, and it has climate control. The upgraded rooms will have private bathroom. And when I say bathroom, it's a toilet and a sink, but it's private.
Whatever.
Yeah. And I think the big family rooms might have a small shower in it. I didn't get to see those.
But no internet available on the.
No. I mean, I tethered my modem, tethered my phone as a modem, but
Right.
if that would be perfect if they were able. And I'm sure at some point that they will, but then again, Amtrak's run by the government, so and
Right.
But I mean, they're in trouble. They're not, although this train was packed, and from what I'm told, Amtrak puts the majority of its interest in this train. It's got the best cars and the best attendance.
Really?
This is what Amtrak says, that they put all their effort into this line more than any other line. So
awesome.
I think they really wanted to succeed anyway. And it was loaded. Going down, we must have had over 200, because they tell you, stats of people, the cars, and it was like 250 something cars on the train, which is a heck of a lot of cars.
Wow.
Yeah. And coming home, it wasn't that much. Going down was mostly snowbirds, retired people going down.
Mike, let me ask you this. I mean, with people say, should I drive down to Walt Disney World? And I always say that, driving down to Walt Disney World is a lot of fun. You're all excited. Trips ahead of you. Where you have all the apprehension. So the whole drive down is kind of exciting. The worst part of driving down is the drive back. 'Cause you just want to go home. Yeah. And after like 2 or 3 hours, you're like, wow, I could have flown home already. You know what I mean?
It wasn't that bad. I just did it. It wasn't bad.
Right. But you live in North Carolina. I mean, I'm talking about going up to back up north where it'd be more than, a few hours drive.
Yeah,
but
okay.
Let me ask you this anyway, Mike. What was your reaction on the way back? I mean, did you feel like that kind of like regret, like maybe I should have taken like just what were your thoughts? Do you have any regret about doing it on the way back, or did you feel like you just had as much fun on the way return?
It was a different feeling. Number one, I had that post reunion blues or post Mousefest blues, whatever you want to call it.
No. Got the post reunion blues. No.
So where you just had. I mean, I just had 10 days of outstanding fun, and now I'm going home back to work, and
yeah.
And going down, like you said, it was brand new to me. It was all exciting. Coming back, I got to the train.
This train again.
And then the first day is the 17.5-hour ride, and then the next morning is the 5-hour trip back home. From Virginia. So it's like, I could have. I'm killing 2 vacation days just in traveling.
Right, that's a consideration.
It really is. In my case anyway, especially coming up from the Northeast, you got to leave at least one full day on both ends of the trip, just in traveling.
If someone's gonna take this, Mike, someone's gonna go on the auto train and do this, what would be a recommendation you would make to them? Is there any tips or lessons that you learned from your experience?
I would definitely get the private room. I wouldn't have done it without the other way. Being in coach
and try the steak.
And try the steak. Steak was fantastic. Oh, they had this dessert too that was really phenomenal. It was really, really good. I never thought Amtrak would make decent food, but they really did.
Awesome.
I don't know if I could sit in a coach seat with 50 other people for 18 hours. I don't know if I could do that.
Yeah,
it's like tough. Being on a plane because the coach seating. I looked at the coach seating. It's almost like full first class airline seats. So they're wide and they do go back. They do look very comfortable. But that said, you're with 50-something other people.
Right.
So you got to deal with, if there's kids yelling, if there's, whatever.
Yeah.
It's a long ride to hear all that. So.
I know my folks took the auto train a few months ago when they came to visit, and they enjoyed it quite a bit. They thought it was fun. They did it as a means of just to change things up, to have a different outlook on it. Obviously, they were able to bring their car, and I believe they had mentioned that my dad drove he has a Chevy Avalanche, which is one of those like it's a large SUV,
right?
And I don't believe they charged extra because it was an SUV. It was just a car to them.
They do have different rates. I don't know. I was afraid. So I have 2 Jeep Cherokees and the little Toyota. So I brought the Toyota only because I was afraid that they were going to bang me out for a bigger charge. Which they didn't, obviously, but there was some huge trucks coming off this train. I was really surprised what they could fit on this thing.
Yeah. So, let me ask, Scopa, you've been living in the Northeast for a while, and to my knowledge, you've never taken the auto train before, correct?
No, I've driven down 1, 2, 3, 4 times.
Okay. Was there ever any temptation for you to take the auto train?
Yeah, but from what I recall, I think it was the same way. Back then, I would have to drive to DC.
Yeah.
And then get on, and it just didn't seem worth it. It seemed like, I lost control when I would get on the train. I wanted control. I wanted, when I was driving down, I wanted my children to see, some certain things. So we would stop on the way, like, for instance, south of the border. That's always
A
an
cultural
interesting thing.
American.
Cultural American. Things like that. I remember one time we were driving down and we saw a chain gang in Alabama or wherever it was, South Carolina.
Stopped by and said, "Mom, I told you."
Exactly. See, kids? See? You have to drink your milk.
Parliament.
So those three things, two things really. Number one, loss of control. Number two, it just didn't seem like it would be worth it for me. So that's the thing. I don't know how much it was back then. I was going to ask Mike if he'd do it again. I guess he would.
I'd do it in a heartbeat. I'm already planning on doing it again for the summer when I go down to Key West and Vero Beach for 10 days. So,
and I'd definitely drive again. I don't know if I'd take the train because I don't know if it would save me any time. It sounds like it might not. But
well, for you it wouldn't be worth it because you'd have to drive up.
What is it, 10 hours for you, Lynn? How long
it was between 10 and 12 depending on traffic. But,
It's 26 hours of driving from.
Yeah, I was gonna say you've driven 4 times in your life. I drove twice last year. It just tells you how. I'm willing to spend half a day in a car. So, but yeah, I can't see an 2 days for you. That'd be difficult.
Very cool. Now, Mike, if anyone's interested, do you just book it online? Do you have to have a travel agent do it? How does it work exactly?
I did it online at Amtrak.com. There's some really good discounts if you have the Orlando Magic card, or if you're a AAA member or an AARP member. There's some really good discounts. So I got a discount with the AAA when I went. Let's say do maybe about $60. It was decent.
Good. Cool. Thank you very much, Mike.
Thank you.
And don't forget that this episode of WDW Today has been sponsored by All-Star Vacation Homes. And after you come down on the auto train, you're going to need somewhere to stay. And why not have a beautiful All-Star Vacation Home waiting for you? That way you can drive your car right to your All-Star Vacation Home, stay there for your couple days or weeks or however long you're staying, and enjoy. You go from the luxury, have those wonderful steaks on the train, and then you can make your own steaks in your own private kitchen at an All-Star Vacation Home. Check them out at www.allstarvacationhomes.com. You want to find our older episodes, read our show notes, or send us your comments, visit the WDW Today website at wdwtoday.com. For Len Testa, Mike Scopa, and Mike Newell, I'm Matt Hochberg. We'll see you on the next show.
Stupid Judy, stupid energy.
This has been a production of Mouse World Radio.